Hi, welcome to our AutoCAD 1 video. This is our first video on AutoCAD. We're going to walk you through some basics about AutoCAD, the interface. That's really all we're going to focus on right now. Later on, we're going to show you how to draw lines, circles, shapes, things like that. And then we're going to send you loose trying to actually replicate a shape or two that the teacher's going to assign out. But first off, this is your interface. We're going to look at it. We're going to start at the top left corner. The big A. This is your pull-down menu. This is really the only one we use. It's just like in Windows where they have, or Windows or Microsoft Office, where you have the Word or the Excel button. This is where you go to save and open up files and things like that. Print or plot, etc., etc. It's all under there. Really self-explanatory. If you're used to using Word or Excel or PowerPoint, nothing's going to surprise you here. Next thing. Okay, I'm going to move off that. Okay, we have our ribbon bar here. So we've got the ribbons that you can pull up. Your home ribbon actually has most of your drawing tools, your modification tools, your palettes, or excuse me, your tools for your layers, your basic annotation tools and stuff like that. So this, like these are inquiry tools down here. This is your major toolbar we use to start with. Real simple, straightforward, direct. Your tool palette down the side can vary. I've got an architectural right now. There's also annotation, mechanical, etc., etc., etc. For the most part, we're not going to worry about this right now. In fact, if you want to close it, you can. Mine's just up because it's standard. Now, next, this whole area with the grid in it is our drawing area. That's where all of our drawings will be created. Now, if you look at it, a couple things we want to do to get you oriented right now. First off, down here in the lower left corner of it is our XY axis. That is our UCS, or User Coordinate System. You can set your system to be whatever you want, really and truly. Right now it's set to world, which is absolute. It bases it around where the computer knows where its 0 point is, or in this case 0, 0, 0, because the Z-axis is actually represented as coming straight out of the screen at us. AutoCAD will draw 3D, but for our purposes, we're going to stay with 2D right now. Now, with that said, if we go directly opposite that up here to the upper right-hand corner, we have our navigation tool up here that allows us to orbit and go home and things like that, north, south, east, west on our layouts and stuff. Don't mess with this as beginners. We want to stay away from 3D as much as possible. We want to not touch this button, any of these buttons right here. This palette that goes with it, as far as I'm concerned, turn it off, close it. Just stay away from that. It's going to cause you problems if we don't. Now, moving down to the bottom end of our screen here, we have three tabs that come up automatically. Model tab, that's model space. That's where we draw our models, okay? That's where everything's drawn. We draw full scale in our classroom, so everything, if you want 3 feet, you're going to draw a 3-foot line. If you want 4 feet, you're going to draw a 4-foot line. Everything is drawn full scale. It's the layouts where we put it on the paper with the title blocks that we then start scaling things. Now, we're going to stay away from those. That's a lesson for another day. Last but definitely not least is our command bar. Our command bar right here is anytime we type something, this is where we interact with the computer. It doesn't matter where my cursor is. If I start to type, so like if I type T, notice how it appears down there in the bottom and it pops up. Okay, what do you mean? M-text, tablet, table, table edit, etc. I'm just going to backspace or actually use my escape key, close that. We'll show you some of those later on. Now, other tools we got down here. If you look right down here, right above my Windows button, that is my coordinate system. It's X, Y, and Z. My Z better stay at 0 for the most part, because right now I'm only drawing 2D. Now if I move my cursor around, that's all in inches. So I'm going to move my cursor up here and stop and see where it is in relation to the origin. Right now it is 35.5554 inches to the right of my X origin, and 15.6098 inches above the origin of the y-axis. My z-axis is still 0 because I'm drawn flat on that plane. I don't want my z-axis to change in the beginning. I want to stay away from it. Other stuff you got floating around down here, we can control scale and stuff right here, but we don't want to mess with these right now, especially as beginners. We're not going to mess with it. We're going to stay in model space, etc. These right here are my snaps and grids and tools. We'll talk about them as we get going, but basically we can control them with our toggle switches, which are our function keys across the top of our keyboard. You know, F1, F2, F3. Now, before I go any farther, if you ever want to know something in AutoCAD and you can't think of what the command is, if we press our F1 button, it's going to pop up our help menu. Okay? So if I'm on it, I hit F1, it's going to go on to say AutoCAD Exchange. It's going to pop it up. Here's my help. I can literally search for help. I can write in what I'm looking for, and it will search for it. Okay. Now, one other thing before we go anywhere else, our F2 button we use quite often too. If I hit F2, it is literally our command bar moved up into a full screen of itself. So I can see every command I've done. I can actually go all the way back through the commands I've done all day long and see everything I've done here. In fact, let's give you an example of this. I'm just going to draw some lines for a minute, just to make a mess, just to show you how to draw a line. I'm just going to go up here, get the line tool, and just start clicking and dragging. I'm just drawing lines. See, just like a pencil. If I had a pencil on a piece of paper, I'd just scribble right now. I'm just drawing around. Okay, we're going to go in here. Now, see the green box that shows up? Those are our object snaps. In AutoCAD, we have what we call running object snaps. In other words, they're always on. They're always looking for the nearest, in this case, endpoint if I'm here, midpoint if I'm there. I can go perpendicular here. I can actually go to a midpoint of anything, intersections. I could drag it out here, come up here, and go back down. I could actually find the intersection. If I had a circle or an arc, I could go looking for the center or the quadrants. Those kind of things, I have most of mine on. We'll show you how to set that later, but that's all we're doing with that. So I'm going to hit my escape key, close that out. Okay. Now, back to my F2 button. If you look, it shows you the list of things I've done. It doesn't give you the XY coordinates, but it shows you that I clicked and drug and just made up a series of lines that has X number of points. I can count those if I want, no problem. But that's our basic interface right now. I'm just closing that. It doesn't do anything down here. It leaves the command bar alone. We're good to go. Okay? That's simple. That's how direct we are. It's just a pencil. In all honesty, AutoCAD drawing is just, it's a different pencil in your hand. You're using a mouse instead of the pencil, but it makes the same thing. Now, we're going to exit out here. We're going to give you a few minutes to digest that, and then we're going to show you what some of our function tools do. Okay? Thank you for your time.